Shabby?
Manchester City stars have already noticed Gianluigi Donnarumma difference. Manchester City keeper Gianluigi Donnarumma has kept clean sheets in his opening 2 games for his new club. Gianluigi Donnarumma has not been at Manchester City for a fortnight yet, but has already made a big impact. That can be seen on the pitch, where he made an excellent save in an accomplished debut against Manchester United to avoid more derby despair for Blues. That was followed by an impressive press conference before the Napoli game, where his response to the fan-pleasing celebrations he had given against United was a call for unity among the team. He wants to celebrate every goal that is scored and wants every goal that he keeps out to be recognised in return. Donnarumma also had something of an inside track on Napoli, the city nearest to where he was born, and a squad containing some Italy internationals, and pledged to tell his new teammates in the dressing room anything he could to help them win. Another performance free of drama came in a 2-0 win for City on Thursday night. It hasn't taken long for the rest of the squad to be as impressed as everyone else is by Donnarumma. Speaking after the Napoli game, Nico O'Reilly praised his leadership qualities. He's had a massive impact. He's such a big character within the team, within the changing room, said O'Reilly. He's come and I feel like we've all welcomed him well. And, yeah, he's a leader, which we need in the team. We have quite a young team, a lot of new players. I feel like he's fit in very well, and obviously he's a great goalkeeper. After the United win, Rodri and Bernardo Silva, 2 City captains who boast plenty of experience at the highest level, suggested that his presence gives confidence to the rest of the team, as well as his pedigree for playing big games. I felt they must put the ball in the top corner to score, Rodri said about the United game. Brian Mbeumo would surely agree, having thought he had got United back in it at the Etihad, only for the keeper to claw his effort round the post. With Gigi, the feeling you have is a bit courtois, you know? A tall guy, big guy, said Silva. I spotted Phil Foden tactical change that showed Manchester City have got their talisman back. Manchester City got their Champions League campaign up and running with a 2-0 win against Napoli, and Phil Foden made the key contribution. Manchester City made it back-to-back wins for the first time this season as they beat Napoli 2-0 in their opening Champions League game at the Etihad. Napoli captain Giovanni Di Lorenzo was sent off after 20 minutes for bringing down Erling Haaland when through on goal, and City were in command from then on. They opened the scoring early in the second half after a brilliant Phil Foden pass allowed Erling Haaland to loop a header over Napoli goalkeeper Vanja Milinkovic-Savic. Jeremy Doku made the game safe with an excellent individual strike to ensure City maintained their momentum heading into Sunday's clash with Arsenal. It was threatening to look like a long evening for City until a moment of magic unlocked a defence that had been obdurate until that point. It came from Foden's wonderful left foot, but it also came after his position was changed and his influence grew. He had initially started the game on the right, with Bernardo Silva on the left, but that changed after the break, and you can see why. Foden looks back to his best this season, and City needed to get him on the ball in central areas to break Napoli down. He did just that with one velvety touch, and from that moment on, the Blues were cruising. Doku can't have had many better weeks than this in a City shirt. His 2 assists on Sunday were crucial to victory in the Manchester derby, and his goal against Napoli was one of his best in his time at the Etihad. The Belgian knows he must go to another level this season, and these have been promising appearances on that front. Goals, especially, are something he needs to deal more in, and this one was a brilliant strike. He was replaced soon after, with his legs saved for Arsenal on Sunday, but he got a warm embrace from Guardiola as he left the pitch and a prolonged word in the ear. The City boss looked delighted with what he had seen. The red card to Napoli captain Di Lorenzo was a crucial moment in this game, and it owed much to the strength and cleverness of Haaland. It didn't look like City's number 9 was going to reach Foden's pass first, but he showed the strength to get there and hold Di Lorenzo off. Then, he positioned his body perfectly to ensure that any attempt to make the tackle would see the right-back have to go through Haaland. That is exactly what happened, and although referee Felix Zweier initially waved play on, Haaland was absolutely adamant, and the replay irrefutably backed up his case. As Kevin De Bruyne walked back into the Etihad on Thursday night, there was a familiar face waiting for him, with Micah Richards offering a bear hug as the Belgian walked towards the dressing room area. After getting out of Richards' grip, he walked up the stairs to the dressing rooms and then remembered to turn left into the away dressing room. It must have been a very unusual feeling for De Bruyne. It was noticeable that as plenty of his Napoli teammates headed out onto the pitch for a look around, he stayed in the dressing room. He knows every inch of this pitch. He wanted to get through the formalities quickly, but was knocked off his stride, quite literally, by Ruben Dias, who offered a little friendly shove with his handshake. What Erling Haaland did versus Napoli shows the risks he will take in new Man City, roll Manchester City, beat Napoli 2-0 in the Champions League, with Erling Haaland netting another landmark goal. Kevin De Bruyne must feel like nothing has changed at the Etihad. He last played here in May, when he was substituted as a sacrifice following a red card for the team. Roll on 4 months and, wearing a deeper shade of blue, he was taken off as the team looked to reorganise following a red. Except this time he was taken off before half-time, and, to the relief of Hugo Viana and everyone else in the most important seats in the stadium, hadn't been able to influence the game. Napoli had lost their right-back with the game still goalless when Antonio Conte moved to shore his defence up. That Giovanni Di Lorenzo was shown his marching orders was down in no small part to Erling Haaland. First for forcing the foul as the last man on the edge of the box, but then also for protesting so adamantly to the referee that he animatedly waved an imaginary red card in the air before the official was advised by VAR to go over to the screen and have another look. That wasn't the only time Haaland risked getting on the wrong side of the referee. When Matteo Politano was given a yellow card for holding back Jeremy Doku in the second half, Manchester City's number 9 motioned to Felix Dwyer to get on with it as City searched for the first goal. It did, however, show more evidence of the conviction that Haaland has started the season with as he embraces a leadership role in the team. Gone is the confused striker who gave up the chance to score a penalty in the FA Cup final, replaced by someone with an urgency to get his team winning. There is a marked difference, and that is what everyone watching City this season is looking for. How much have they put the slip in standards of the last year behind them? Early defeats to Spurs and Brighton showed that they have not completely banished their demons, and mean any verdicts have to be premature. It has undeniably been a promising couple of days at the Etihad after the derby win. It's easy to say that Ederson may not have saved the header from Sam Bukaima midway through the first half against Napoli, as City gave up another chance, when Gianluigi Donnarumma read it right and got behind it. Then again, soft goals past Ederson were a feature of the wretched Champions League run last year. Again, is it hindsight to say that there was something off about City from the very start of their Champions League run last year? That wasn't just wearing that ghastly Oasis-inspired kit at home. They would win their next 2 before the collapses started, but there was a sense in their opener against Inter 12 months ago that the two teams were happy with a draw in a way that you rarely see from a Guardiola side. Haaland was the most impatient man on the pitch against Napoli, and it paid off when City's best player on the night, Phil Foden, superbly set him up to head in his 6th of the season and 50th Champions League goal on his 49th appearance in the competition. To have that record already with such a ceiling to improve is scary. That is what Haaland is determined to do though, and he was happy to take a risk in order to help City to win. There may be work to do for all, but the last few days have been perfect to tee up Sunday's difficult trip to Arsenal. Manchester City injury latest as Blues get huge boost but 4 set to miss Napoli and Arsenal showdowns. Manchester City injury news ahead of the Champions League tie with Napoli on Thursday night. Pep Guardiola's side then take on Arsenal at the Emirates on Sunday afternoon. Manchester City have been handed a significant injury boost with the sight of John Stones training ahead of the Champions League tie with Napoli. The England defender missed the weekend derby win over Manchester United with a muscle injury sustained while on international duty. But he was part of the training group on Wednesday as City trained ahead of the meeting with the Serie A champions. Calvin Phillips was also among the squad, but a clutch of senior players remained sidelined ahead of the Champions League opener with Napoli on Thursday night and the subsequent Premier League trip to Arsenal on Sunday. Here's the injury latest from the Etihad. Marmoush suffered an injury in the 4th minute of Egypt's goalless draw with Burkina Faso on Tuesday. He tried to carry on, but was withdrawn 5 minutes later. He returned to Cairo on crutches and underwent a scan in Egypt to assess the extent of the damage. City have now confirmed the 26-year-old will miss the derby, but expect him to return to action in the coming weeks. "We have to make the last tests," said Guardiola of the forward. "A few weeks. Before the international break, he will be ready." He. France international is sidelined for 2 months after picking up a thigh injury. It could result in Turkey missing 10 matches with the forward absent for the defeat to Brighton last time out. Ait Nouri suffered an ankle injury in the early stages of his home debut against Tottenham. The £31 million summer signing from Wolves played against Brighton, but did not join up with the Algeria squad for their World Cup qualifiers against Botswana and Guinea. Guardiola confirmed the left-back will miss the game against United. The midfielder is out until October with the Achilles injury that he had surgery on this summer. Kovacic went under the knife shortly after the season finished, missing the Club World Cup and the rest of pre-season, with the hope that he would be able to be fit around the start of the new campaign. But he is now set to be absent until at least the October international break. Pep Guardiola and Gianluigi Donnarumma press conference, live injury updates and team news. Manchester City face Napoli in the Champions League on Thursday night, with Kevin De Bruyne set to return to the Etihad. Hello, and welcome to our live coverage of Pep Guardiola's Manchester City press conference ahead of the Champions League tie with Napoli. The Blues begin their European campaign with a visit from the Serie A champions, who will have City legend Kevin De Bruyne